What's up, everyone? My name is Taylor Reimer. You're watching Fans View Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Fans View Podcast. This week, I'm very excited. We're welcoming back a two-time guest. We're going to step away from the world of wrestling, step away from MMA, and we're going to hit the track with one of my favorite people. I dare call her a friend at this point. Today's guest, like I said, is making her second appearance on the show. She's former OU collegiate cheerleader turned badass race car driver. She is running currently mostly a late model stock car schedule with some select races from Veterini Motorsports in the ARCA series. And most importantly, last but not least, she's a bit of a Reese's connoisseur of sorts. Today's episode is featuring my favorite person, Taylor Reimer. Taylor, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thank you for having me back.
No, I told you when we did this last time, I have to have you back. There's so many things we didn't touch on. One of them being, who knew that you were such a connoisseur of the chocolatey treat known as Reese's Cups? And I have to ask you, is it Reese's or is it Reese's?
I don't know. That's what I like in my TikTok video. I said it and then I looked up at Corey because I was like, oh wait, I don't know what is the correct pronunciation, but I think it's Reese's.
We're gonna go with that.
Because if it's like Reese's Pieces, but then it's like Reese's Cup. But there's a difference.
Hey, you're the connoisseur. We're going with whatever you tell us. We're taking that as gospel. And you take a bow, ma'am, because that was pretty impressive. 4 for 4 blind taste test.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, the other night, my favorite candy is the holiday Reese's. So they have comes out seasonal. So they have eggs, the pumpkin, Christmas. I don't eat normal Reese's. I don't like the ones with the edges, I only like the holiday ones. And I was telling Corey that I think that I could tell the difference between the two easily. And so he was like, okay, we'll do a little challenge. So I made a TikTok video about it and I got them all right very easily. He even cut them up to where you can't tell. I had a blindfold on and he made me do it twice so that I didn't guess it. I didn't get lucky the first time. But you can tell the holiday ones, they're creamier and they taste way fresher. The other Reese's that I had tasted old. It tasted like it had been sitting on the shelf for 5 months before I ate it.
Yes, yeah.
I know my Reese's.
The effort that Corey went to make sure that was as accurate a blind taste test as possible was,
I know. He was
honestly
trying to get me. It didn't work.
It was. That was impressive. And I'm glad you said that. You put it on your TikTok. I've noticed lately, you being way more active on your TikTok. I saw you almost try to tear a hamstring, trying to do some. I don't even know what that was. I know I couldn't do it. What's kind of led to that resurgence of your TikTok and your social media?
Yeah, I don't know. I've just had quite a bit of time off. My off season's kind of been longer than typical, so I'm just getting back in the hang of making TikToks and trying to promote some brands to make some little side cash.
I love that. I love that so much. Anybody that's not following her, what is your TikTok? So people
I think it's just Taylor Reimer.
Okay, definitely go check it out, guys. It's entertaining, and like I said, if nothing else, you can marvel at her Reese's knowledge.
Exactly.
We talked about Corey a little bit, and I kind of wanted to dig into that just briefly. What's it like, kind of being in the public eye, if you will? Obviously, everybody has a boyfriend, everybody has a girlfriend, but you have to do it in the public eye, so to speak. Are there any unique challenges that you've found?
Honestly, not really. No, everyone's very supportive of it, which is, it's very nice to have, but it's just great to have someone that's in the sport and understands the world of racing, especially, and to have him. He's a very obviously talented driver, so to have him behind me to be able to help me learn along the way has been very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other part of it that I wanted to ask you about is I've noticed, again, with your social media resurgence, you being at the track when you're not racing to support him. How difficult is that for you as a racer? Like when you're in the car, it's kind of a different beast. You're in as much control as you can be in a race car at 200 miles an hour,
Hmm.
but you have some sense of control. How hard is it to see Corey logging laps at 200 miles an hour and you have no control?
I know it is. And now I like feel for my parents because my parents get so nervous when I race and they get so worked up. And now I understand like being on the side of it, like being in a relationship with him, I get so nervous and I'm way more nervous for him than he is himself. So I feel for my parents now because I understand what they've been going through their whole life watching me race.
I love that. It kind of puts the shoe on the other foot now, doesn't
Hmm.
it? And to wrap up the Corey talk, I saw this was topical when we first scheduled this, but I just have to ask about it. I saw that you were at the AFC Championship game, you guys. What was that like, other than extremely cold? Obviously, I think they played the Buffalo Bills that day, the Kansas City Chiefs. What was that experience like?
It was really fun. So Corey's a big football fanatic. I never like obviously I cheered, but I other than that I don't really watch football. But now that we've been together, he is a huge Steelers fan. So we whenever it's football season, we're watching every single game all the time. He knows so much about football. And I at first I wasn't really interested in it, but now that like I've started watching it more and more, it's definitely more entertaining. So over the off season, we got to go to one of the games, and it was a really good game. We were rooting for the Bills, but it was a close game. It was a lot of fun. That
Yeah.
was actually the first not college, the first NFL game that I've been to. So to go to a playoff game and like such a unique stadium, the
Yeah.
Arrowhead Stadium there, they have a really good like fan scene. Like it gets super loud in there. So it was a lot of fun to get to go to with him.
Okay, now I got to hit you with the truth serum. How much time did you spend watching the game? How much time did you spend looking for Taylor Swift?
I don't like Taylor Swift.
Oh, okay. Look at
I'm
that.
sorry,
Breaking
I'm not a
news.
fan. I'm not a fan.
I Hey, I'm with you. All right, we're on the same team here.
I was
um,
strictly watching the game. I was hoping that we wouldn't see her on the screen.
so much respect. Yeah, I'm sure that went
Sorry,
over.
I'm not a huge fan.
I love it. I see the headline now. Like I'm clipping that. Social media is gonna. Oh man, love that. Taylor Reimer, not a Swiftie. Okay.
No, not at all.
Um, now back to business. I saw right before the season started, it was announced that that Buzzball signed on for another year
Yep.
as your primary sponsor. How exciting is that to continue that relationship? I know when we spoke last time, you were like giving me recommendations. Like you're all in on Buzzballs. They don't just slap their logo on your car. Like you're here for it.
Yeah, they're such a great company, and I'm so thrilled and grateful to have another primary season with them. They've since the very beginning they've been supportive of me on and off the track. So to have them back for another year is super exciting, and looking forward to hopefully continuing with them as I make my way into NASCAR.
Love that. Um, So, can you talk a little bit again? This might not be as topical as we thought it was going to be originally, but it's such a big event that I feel like we need to bring it up. The Chili Bowl. Obviously, we had big aspirations this year. It didn't quite go the way you wanted. You ran into some trouble. Can you talk about your experience this year at the Chili Bowl and maybe what you learned from it that you can kind of use going forward in 2025?
Yeah, well, to start off, what I learned is definitely need to run a midget before jumping back in there after taking 6 months off. Obviously, going back to the Chili Bowl is so much fun. It's such a historic place to race at, but it was a little bit disappointing. So, what I learned was next year, if I want to run it, I definitely need to, maybe race the shootout before or just get back into a midget. Taking so much time off is so hard when the field is so competitive and they're racing every single weekend. Switching gears, going from pavement and then back to the Chili Bowl was a bit of a challenge, but all in all, I still had a great time. Getting back into hot laps, I immediately remembered why I loved dirt racing so much. Just super fun just to make laps out there. Racing didn't, go the way we wanted to, but I still had a great time.
Yeah, and I saw some social media stuff. I think you posted some stuff, and it was also you were tagged in a lot of it that you seem to really make an impact. From a fan perspective, like I said, this is a fans view podcast, so I always love to look at it from that perspective. And the amount of photos that you were tagged in with little girls and smaller, kids, that must have felt pretty good.
Yeah, honestly, like that was getting me through the week, after having, not the best prelim night. But just getting to take photos with all of the fans, like you said, is such a special, like holds such a special place in my heart because it reminds me, like why I'm in this sport and hoping to inspire young women and young men to, chase after your dreams, no matter, the path that you've taken. Everyone's path is different, but it's never too late to get back into racing or to start racing. So just to be able to connect with fans like that is really special to me.
Absolutely. So moving forward, it was just announced, I think like right before the season, that you're going to be running a limited ARCA schedule again this year with Venerini Motorsports. I think what you have on the docket right now is Elko, Kansas, Toledo. I think in the fall you're going to run the Bull Ring in Vegas and also Phoenix. Um, how excited are you for that opportunity to run that many races in the ARCA series? And B, is there any chance that we see maybe another race added to the schedule between now and the end?
I am very excited to, be able to run some pavement ARC races. Last year and the year before, 22, I made one ARCA start and it was at Springfield. And then last year I did two, both being on dirt. This year I'm looking forward to, getting some more experience on the pavement side of things with, a couple short tracks and then intermediate and then you have Phoenix. Just looking forward to going out there and being on a bigger track. My whole life I've always been on short tracks. So Springfield on dirt was, the biggest track I've been at. So it'll be fun to, challenge myself and try different tracks.
Absolutely. Now, is there any chance that anything gets added, or you kind of what you have is what you have?
Yeah, as of right now, what we have is 5. We don't plan on adding any more unless we're able to get more sponsorship throughout the year.
Okay, and segue queen. That was my next question. Is it more of a sponsorship issue or just a scheduling thing? Okay.
Yeah, it's just more sponsorship and not wanting to rush up. Like I need to, run some more pavement stuff like on local short tracks just to get the experience and then, make my way into ARCA. So we're doing kind of second half of the year just so that in the beginning of the year I can get more experience on pavement, late model side of things. And I will be testing at Kansas 1, but I'll be racing the second one. So it'll be nice to be able to get some practice in before, I go out to Elko and just get racing because you don't really get testing in these kinds of cars. It's so expensive to be able to go somewhere and test on your own. So to get that practice at Kansas before and get my feet wet will be really beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. I can really see why you're a fan favorite too, because that self-awareness is key, that you don't want to just rush into it full bore because then, things can go south quickly and it's not a good situation. So good on you for having that patience, that self-awareness that like, I don't want to just go to go. I want to go when I'm ready. I
Yeah,
really,
exactly.
I really think that's very commendable. Um, what I was kind of curious about, again from a fan's perspective, is obviously we listed those races that you're going to run. What went into deciding, like, okay, we're going to run this track, but not this track, but then this track? Like, what kind of goes into that decision making process, and who kind of makes that decision?
Yeah, ultimately, I get to make the decision, but I had some people behind the scenes that I reached out to and discussed with to see what tracks would be good for someone that's just starting out in the
Mm-hmm.
ARCA series. Like I don't need to go to Daytona or Talladega, even though those are bigger races in the series. I think that starting off in like an intermediate track, first short track, and then getting the experience on an intermediate track, and then Phoenix is kind of unique. Just having the people behind me help me kind of behind the scenes and just figuring out which tracks would be good for someone that's just starting.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this: if there was a track on the ARCA slate that you could run, any track, doesn't have to be like a fit for your, I guess, your experience level. If you could run any track, what would it be?
Hmm. Honestly, I would have to say like Daytona or Talladega to get around a super speedway.
Yeah.
Obviously, hopefully, I get to in the future, but it would be cool to race one of those places just because they're so much history behind them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that absolutely makes sense. Um, so Taylor, since you came the first time, we've kind of made some upgrades over here at the Fans View podcast with a couple new segments and whatnot. Actually, we have segments. I think when you first came on, we were just kind of winging this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I have a segment I like to call the Fan's Eye View, where basically I'll show you a picture and you just kind of give me the deep dive behind it and maybe the story that goes along with it. So if you're game, I am going to show everyone what we chose today.
Okay.
Here we are.
Uh,
That is a winner right there. Can you tell me what's going on here?
yeah, this was our win out at Tri-County. That's Lee on the left and Michael on the right. And this picture is just so special. Clearly, this is our third win of the season. So um, even my first win was so memorable. But looking back at this, it just makes you smile. All the hard work that you put in, and Lee Falk Racing, everyone there that helps out is they're such a great team, and they're great people behind the scenes. So
Yeah.
this picture.
Yeah, it certainly never gets old being in Victory Lane. Aw. I'd love to segue off of that photo of you in Victory Lane. And I know this is going to be a tough question, so take your time. But if you had a crowning moment, I guess, maybe not a crowning moment, maybe that's overselling it, but just an accomplishment in your career that you're incredibly proud of, what comes to mind?
Ooh, that's a great question. Honestly, probably my first late model win with Lee Falk Racing last year at Tri County. It was we were leading. We had probably like a 4 or 5 second lead. So we wore them out. It was just so special because it means so much to me and the team to be able to put together such a solid night. And then by the end of the year, getting four was like past my expectations. So that was probably my first late model win at Tri County.
All right, I love that answer. I know that's an incredibly hard question to answer, so I appreciate that you put some thought into it. Last but not least, finish this sentence for me. I'll consider 2025 successful if.
Oh, that's a hard one.
That's what we do here. We're like the 60 minutes of podcasts.
I will consider 25 successful if I am able to get like obviously I want to finish, get all the laps on my ARCA starts, and just have fun, I guess. I don't really know.
No, that's a great answer. I mean, you kind of spoke about earlier, like obviously winning is always what you want to do, but I think you're kind of reserved to the fact like you're just trying to log laps right now, get experience. Like
Yeah.
you're not expected to go out here and finish P1, P2. Like it's okay if you finish in the middle of the pack. Like honestly, just finishing is a lot to ask for some ARCA racers. So,
Yeah.
not throwing
Yeah.
shade at anyone, but you know what I mean. So,
Yeah. I think 2025 will be successful if I'm able to enjoy the racing as well. It's racing is a tough sport. It's very humbling. So just going out there and doing the best that I can and enjoying it as well.
that's a perfect answer. There is no perfect answer, but that's a perfect answer. Um, I want to say thank you so much. I'm so glad that we could put this together. You were always such a joy to have on here.
Yeah. Thank
Can
you
you
for having
remind
me
every
back.
Absolutely. Hopefully, you'll be the first 3-time guest here in the future. Can you remind everybody where they can get to you, on your socials and stuff, so they can hopefully tell you how amazing you are and how much fun they had watching you in the ARCA series?
Yeah, so I have my Instagram, all my, social media is Taylor Reimer. I have a Facebook that's Taylor Reimer Racing. My website, I think it's just taylorreimerracing.com. And then I also, if you want to get merch. It's either linked through my website or it's Shop Taylor Reimer.
Awesome. Well, like I said, Taylor, thank you so much. Hopefully we'll have you on again in the future. And I can't, like I said, I can't thank you enough. You're a busy lady, so
No problem. No problem.
we,
That doesn't make it work.
we certainly appreciate it, guys. Until next episode, just make sure you go follow Taylor, support her, buy her merch, check her out, support her in any way you can. She deserves it. We're a pro Taylor Reimer podcast around here. But until next time, guys, thank you guys so much. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, all the things. And
hey, you, watching this right now, I see you. If you're enjoying what you're watching, I've got one quick favor to ask, and it only takes a second, costs you nothing, and makes a huge difference. If you could go ahead and hit that like button, maybe drop a comment. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed. Doesn't seem like much, but for small creators, it's everything. So let's help more people find this channel and keep the content coming. And honestly, I'm pretty sure the podcast will be really grateful. So if you're having fun, you like what you see, make it official, click those buttons. And the Fans View podcast, we'll see you next time. Bye, friends.